up everyone? So continuing the Venice Film Festival coverage, today's movie I'm discussing on the channel is the latest film from Yorgos Lanthimos called Bugonia, which is actually a remake of a 2003 Korean film called Save the Green Planet by Jang Joon-hwan, which for the record I have never seen, and I didn't want to seek it out before watching this film because I wanted to go into it and be surprised. Lanthimos has teamed up for a fourth consecutive film with his muse Emma Stone. In this, Stone plays a cold, callous CEO called Michelle Fuller, who is kidnapped by a couple of conspiracy theorist cousins called Teddy and Don, played in this film by Jesse Plemons and Aidan Delvis. They believe she is an alien that has been sent to Earth disguised as a human, and she's here to learn our ways, our weaknesses, and how to destroy us. In a darkly funny kidnapping scene, which involves the cousins wearing these Jennifer Aniston, like, paper face masks, the cousins drug her, they shave off all her hair because they believe her hair helps her to communicate with the aliens back on her mothership, slather her body in antihistamine cream, and then chain her to a cot in their basement. And when she regains consciousness, they exchange some conversations, or as Fuller would say, a dialogue. She tries to rationalize with them and make Teddy feel like he's in control, but Teddy is having none of it. He wants her to admit to him that she is an alien, and in 4 days' time, on the night of the lunar eclipse, he wants to use her to negotiate with the Emperor on board the mothership to leave planet Earth. And over the 4 days, the tensions start to escalate between them all, and the audience is left wondering, who do we believe? Okay, is she actually an alien, or is Teddy just some whack job whose perception of reality has been so warped by all this content that he's consumed on the internet? And Lanthimos does a pretty good job of keeping the audience guessing throughout. So what did I think of Bugonia then? I will say I had a pretty good time watching this film, okay? It is very entertaining, but I wouldn't say like I was wowed by it. Like the last two Lanthimos films that I saw at the Venice Film Festival were Poor Things and The Favourite, and both times I came out of those movies, I was absolutely stunned by both of them. I knew immediately they were both 10 out of 10 movies for me. With Bugonia, I didn't have that feeling. I was still impressed by it, but not completely wowed. But I have such deep respect for Yorgos Lanthimos. No matter what he makes, I will always go watch it, because with Yorgos, he likes to make films that challenge the audience that are watching. Not only does he make movies which are very entertaining, but he also gets you to engage with ideas that might be outside of your comfort zone. If you're familiar with Yorgos Lanthimos' filmography, then I would say Bugonia is more in the bracket of Dogtooth or Killing of a Sacred Deer than it is Poor Things or The Favourite. This film is uncomfortable, it's darkly funny, at times it's brutally violent, but it's also commenting on how we're destroying the planet and ourselves. These are very chaotic times that we're living in, and some of us choose to bury our heads in the sand, and others choose to believe the most batshit crazy theories that are out there. And that's what Lanthimos and screenwriter Will Tracy are satirizing here, both ends of the spectrum when it comes to attitudes towards war, genocide, and environmental and ecological collapse. Emma Stone's character, Michelle Fuller, represents the corporate bigwigs, the billionaires who arguably do the most damage to the planet in pursuit of wealth. And Jesse Plemons' character, Teddy, represents the tin hat wearing conspiracists who actually have more influence than we care to admit sometimes, because with Teddy, he has already influenced his impressionable cousin Don, and yeah, Don is sort of a stand-in for other people who can't think for themselves. But yeah, none of the characters come out of this looking good. And as you're watching Bugonia, it kind of asks you to look inward and realize that in some way we are all kind of accountable, whether it's through action or inaction. The first reactions out of Venice have been quite positive, but I can't help but feel like this film will be polarizing, because I do think it is a bit preachy in its messaging, and some people aren't going to like that. This film is saying a lot, and I like a film that leaves you with food for thought, have some time to digest it, but I saw this film yesterday, and while I did enjoy it, I don't think it's a slam dunk. But there is still plenty to praise about this film, particularly the performances of its two main stars, Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. At this point, I feel like it's obvious Emma Stone would clearly go to hell and back for her go-to director, Yorgos Lanthimos, because she already did full frontal nudity in Poor Things, and in this movie, she actually shaved off her head for real for Yorgos. I mean, she must completely 100% trust this man in all the projects that he does, because she's utterly fearless with whatever weird project she'll dive into his of next. It's just It's so admirable, and it's always exciting seeing what they're going to make together next. And with Bugonia, Emma Stone gets to show off another side of her skill set and demonstrate how she's one of the most versatile actors we've got working today. Her performance as Michelle Fuller is some of her finest work she's ever done. She's very cunning in this, because her character's highly educated. She has 2 degrees, one in chemistry, one in psychology, and she's very condescending to her captors, and she's also a master manipulator. This is her 4th time doing a Lanthimos collaboration, and she's still surprising us. But Jesse Plemons is just as captivating as Teddy. This is such an explosive performance from Plemons, you just never know what his character's gonna do next. And while his character is absurd, he's not like a caricature of a crazed conspiracy theorist. You can actually see why his cousin Don follows him, because he has absolute conviction in everything that he says. He fundamentally believes in everything that he says and does. And the film is at its most engaging when these 2 characters are going toe-to-toe with each other, when they're bouncing off each other intellectually, trying to outsmart each other. Part of the joy of watching this film is seeing how your loyalties might shift from one character to the other, because at the end of the day, they're both awful people, but sometimes you side with Plemons, sometimes you side with Stone, and you're just, you're not sure where you land with them. That's what keeps it interesting. And I'm just realizing now that's also another way that you can interpret this film, as sort of an analogy for the class divide between the rich and the poor. That's what I love about Lanthimos. His movies have layers. But I also want to say this film looks fantastic as well. Robbie Ryan's done the cinematography, so we expect no less from him. But yeah, those wide tracking shots, where the camera follows a character, are becoming a very distinguishable trait in Lanthimos' movies. Justin Fendrix has returned to do another signature score for a Lanthimos movie. I'd say the score for Bugonia shares similar qualities to the weirdness of Poor Things, but comparing the two, Poor Things feels more fantastical, and this very much feels more sci-fi and alien. He uses a lot of sharp strings to represent the paranoia of the characters, but also every now and then there'll be some really brassy, percussive, explosive noises thrown in there just to sort of represent the chaos of the situation that the characters are in. I also appreciated the production design in this, even though it's not very showy and it mostly takes place in Teddy's house. But what I liked about it is that honeybees are sort of used as a metaphor in this film for humanity, because they are a species that are sort of on the brink of colony collapse, disaster, or CCD. And sometimes when we turn on the news, it really does feel like we're just one disaster away from our complete demise. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, but what I wanted to say was, if you look really closely in the basement of Teddy's house, you'll notice that the insulation that's used around the walls, to soundproof the room, the wiring is very hexagonal, and it kind of looks like, the honeycombs inside of a beehive. So that was just a nice little detail that I spotted from the production designer, James Price. It was just very thoughtful. But do I think Bugonia will have any Oscars chances? I will say, I don't think this film is going to be in the same leagues for Oscar nominations as The Favourite or Poor Things, but I could see Bugonia getting a few nominations, but I'm a little weary of saying it's a dead cert for anything, because again, it is a preachy movie. I do think it will be polarizing, so we need to see how it plays out over the coming months. But there is no denying the strength of the performances in this film. Emma Stone should be in the Best Actress 5, in my opinion. Same with Jesse Plemons. They're both tour de forces in this film. And I would also say that the script would be worthy of Best Adapted Screenplay, because the conversations between Teddy and Michelle are so stimulating, and even when they're speaking corporate babble or conspiracy theorist babble, it's just so well written. Just the words they're using are just very elegant or eloquent, whichever one it is. But yeah, I noticed the writing was just exceptional. So it would be cool to see it get into Best Adapted Screenplay, but I'm not, saying it's a lock or anything. And also Justin Pendrix got the previous nomination for Poor Things, and this is in a similar field to Poor Things, but not too similar. It's got its own identity, so I could see maybe getting into Best Score, but it's looking like it's going to be a very crowded category this year for Best Score. We've got a lot of great movie compositions this year, so I don't know if it's going to quite make the cut this time around. And some people are going to make the argument that it could potentially show up in costume design as well, because the last 15 minutes of this film, there is some real like showcase costumes going on. Like, I don't want to say too much because it's a bit of a spoiler, but yeah, some of the costumes in the final 15 minutes are very elaborately constructed, and they're very interesting to look at. But because they come right at the end of the film and people have short memories, maybe they're not going to be as prominent in people's minds after they've seen Poor Things when they... Sorry, not Poor Things, Bugonia. When they look back at this film, are they going to think of it as a costume movie? I'm not so sure. When it comes to like above the line categories, like Best Picture, Director for Lanthimos, or Editing, I'm not so sure that it's going to go the distance there. Like, again, I just don't know if it's going to be everyone's cup of tea, this film. It's just not got the accessibility factor of, say, The Favourite or Poor Things. So, yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be a massive player at the Oscars, but I hope it doesn't get goose-egged. I hope it gets in a couple places. Like, the performances are the things I would like to see that get acknowledged from this movie. But what do you guys think? Is Bugonia going to be a big player come this award season? What Oscar noms do you think it might get? Whatever you have to say, let your voice be heard in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your theories. All right then, it's time to ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch it again? I'm definitely not going to be in as big of a rush to rewatch Bugonia as I was for other Lanthimos films like The Favourite or Poor Things or even The Lobster, but I definitely could sit down and rewatch this again. Like, I had an entertaining time with it, and the performances are very, very good enough for me to want to watch them again. So yeah, I could rewatch it, but not in a massive rush. We'll see. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? For the Lanthimos enthusiast, this is very much more of his outrageous brilliance, so yeah, definitely go check it out. If you're a fan of the actors in this, Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, they're top of the game here, definitely go watch it for them. So yeah, I do recommend it, but I have a feeling a lot of people aren't going to appreciate this film as much as Lanthimos' other films, so yeah, I'd say maybe just lower your expectations a little bit. And third question, what score to give out of 10? This isn't my favourite, sorry, no pun intended, of Lanthimos' work, but even Lanthimos operating at a 60 or 70% is still a hell of a lot better than most of the stuff that we get these days. I can only really judge Lanthimos to his own standards, because the man is an amazing filmmaker. He's made genuinely some of my favourite films before, and I just have to say, this wasn't up there with some of my personal favourites of his, but I still enjoyed a lot of it. So I'm gonna give Bugonia a score of 7 out of 10. But as always, guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts on Bugonia. Are you excited for it? Have you seen it? If you have, where does it rank for you in all of Lanthimos' work? If you want more Venice Film Festival coverage, be sure to click that subscribe button for me and turn on a little bell if you want to get notified when the next video goes live, and follow us on the socials if you want my reactions to all the movies as they're happening. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching, guys. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Carefield. Woo! Knocked over me tea. Sorry. Thanks so much for watching, guys. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Carefield, and I'll see you next time.